Well, good evening, fellow Brexiteers. We are free. um, I had a bit of time before I started work this morning, so I got on Facebook. I think it was Twitter actually, and the first thing that actually popped up at the top of the screen as soon as I opened it was "We've Brexited." And obviously they weren't like 100% sure at that point because it was going on for about another 2 or 3 hours. They were still checking the last of the final votes. Um, I'd be fucking amazed if it was as low as 51%, to be honest, or whatever, 51.9% or whatever it was. When it was coming in at 60 and 70% in a lot of places. I would think the overall would be a lot higher than that, but if they did try to rig it, they didn't do enough. Which is my biggest worry, because I think I said last weekend on YouTube that Boris would very likely be in charge quite soon. And I was just worried that they were going to rig it to such an extent that Brexit campaign could not win. But there you go. And then I switched on the news. And people do not realise what's going on. I hate to use the words New World Order, but... And the news report was that we had defied David Cameron's advice. The people had defied Cameron's advice. Defied. Really, to me, that just says it all. Because, sorry, is he not a publicly elected official? Which, give him his due, he's done as the public have requested and put this one through. But is he not a publicly elected? How can we defy? They fucking work for us. Or they're supposed to. How can the people defy a publicly elected official in a democratic vote? You can defy law and order, the police, or laws, and that's questionable, and that has to be discussed in court. But in a democratic vote, defying a publicly elected official, what? And this is the problem. They think we're the minions. They think we're the peasants. They think they're in charge. They're not. We can get rid of them any fucking time we want if we stand up and say, go. Be that a vote, a petition, and they are supposed to listen to that. Notice I say supposed to. I mean, what happened to sack your MP? Remember that? Cameron coming out with that big election promise. You can sack your MP. If he's useless, if he doesn't do as you say, yada yada yada. Never heard of that one again, have we? But this is the problem, and the media are involved, because that was a deliberately. I noticed it went away quite quickly after about another one news report that stopped saying that. But that was a deliberately scripted article to put the onus on us. We dare to defy the Prime Minister. I don't choose these words by accident. Do you know what I mean? But this is what we have to look at now, because now actually there's at least one other European country wants a referendum now, and it looks like the whole EU will probably not exist within 5 years. And this was a big, big thing for them. I mean, already Obama's turned around and said the special relationship between America and the UK won't be affected. So that was obviously just all lies. And already it looks like there's they've engineered some months ago some kind of secret trade deal partnership with Germany in case of Brexit. So the trade was never going to suffer. So it was all fucking lies. And there was only one purpose to this entire EU referendum stroke project, and that was dictatorship. That's as simple as it gets. They were going to take over, the EU was going to take over control of our army and our police. Now that only tells me one thing, and that thing is Germany in 1937. That's when that shit starts. Because I'll tell you something now, the French Foreign Legion, French Special Forces, infantry, are not accountable to the French government because any nationality, any person of any nationality can join the Foreign Legion, and because the total number of French soldiers in the Foreign Legion numbers 20% or less of the unit, the Foreign Legion is not accountable to the French people. The French president does not have to tell the people what the Foreign Legion is doing. So you think about that. Because that's what was going to... In the whole of the EU, how many countries are there? What one armed forces, be it Army, Navy, Air Force, whatever, would total above 20% of the whole EU? So they could have gone off and done what the fuck they liked, and no one would have had to inform the people of any country. Not just Britain, but France, Germany, Denmark, you name it. No country would have known what their armed forces were up to. And someone else controlling a country's police force is just absolutely insane. I mean, we've got enough fucking problems with the police just now, thinking they can just make up the law as they go along and enforce any law they want and just do what they want. Christ, can you imagine if it wasn't New Scotland Yard, where at least you could actually go to if you wanted in person, because you could catch a train or whatever? You'd have to go to Brussels to sort anything out. And good luck getting an answer there, because I've tried on different issues of that one before. You never get an answer. But this was it. This was the one. This is why it was really important to them, because of all that stuff they've lied about, which is already coming out. It was dictatorship. It was as simple as that. And hey, call me crazy. I am insane, but that's not the point. You know, you can say what you want. You can say, look, you're talking a load of shit, Paul, fuck off. I don't care. Because this was what was happening. And with all the others. And Article 50, which we have to activate to get out of the EU, has apparently been really deliberately difficult, really deliberately complicatedly written to make it really difficult to invoke it. Wonder why that is, then. I mean, the simple fact is they weren't expecting so many people to vote Brexit, and this has caught them with their trousers down, as much as the anger over the whole immigration issue. And vis-a-vis, by the way, apparently truck drivers have been getting beaten up and stabbed down at Calais, and the news hasn't run a goddamn thing on it. Not the mainstream media, anyway. Oh, I wonder why that is. This was... really, actually, this was the only result. I mean, it's a fantastic result as far as I'm concerned. I don't live in Scotland, so that doesn't affect me, and I don't live in Northern Ireland, so that doesn't affect me that way either. But this EU referendum was not what the Remain campaign was saying it was about. It was about a very fucking sinister motive thing indeed. And they weren't going to tell us that until after we'd signed up. Because we were getting very close to knocks on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning and people disappearing and your neighbours spying on you and yada yada yada. And that's what was happening with us. There's no doubt about that. So I'm just very, very glad. Especially with what I've got going on now as well, that it went the way it did. But if you don't believe me, you can check any of this stuff out. So I've always said that about all my videos. Well, the political ones anyway. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll probably see you over the weekend.